welcome to Psalm 51. So I have taken into account the comments that I got on Psalm 50, and I am laying in my drawing here for you so that you can see how I'm drawing it. I think in the doodle sheet, my sponge was on the other side, maybe, I don't remember, but I've got lots of kind of stuff going in. This is that mop. On the mop, you have to make sure that the bottom of the mop is sort of like level with the floor, so it looks like it's leaning, almost like that cotton part of the mop is, like pressed up against the floor. So I have lots of those bubbles in. When I'm laying in the watercolor, I just have them staked out as a place, but it's kind of hard to lay in a watercolor wash and respect those bubbles, but it just kind of gives me an idea of where they're going to be. So I'm laying in here. First layer is the gray of the bucket. In my head, the bucket is not like a beach bucket, but it's like an industrial silver bucket, because he needs to wash a whole lot of me clean constantly, day in and day out. So like I was trying to think how I could do a car wash, like have the sponge, the mop, the bucket, and a car wash and a garden hose, and but so I'm just kind of working on getting those first layers in on everything. I sketched in with a Prismacolor erasable pencil, colored pencil, so that it sort of disappears a little bit. It does not, it shows up for you guys still, but it does not, it doesn't, being the color scheme that I'm going with, it will kind of disappear a little bit better than the graphite. So here, if you noticed, I put in a layer of water first because I want the watercolors to misbehave and I want them to look kind of, I don't know, like flowy, like it's just all like, I don't even know what I mean, like just organic all around it, and water's just splashing and it's an active environment. So first I laid down just water with I just had a slight tinge of pink on it, just because I just had some on my brush, and then put the water down and then just kind of plop in the purple and let it spread and misbehave on the water. So that's that side, and then I'm going to come up and do the other side. So there is the pink. I have to splatter. So I'm just getting that in, and now I'm just dipping in water that has no more pigment in it. I'm just dipping in water and just letting it be really kind of soggy, so that I can let the watercolor sort of misbehave. So I thought that it's sort of like it's dripping down from heaven, His grace and His cleanliness is sort of dripping down from heaven, and then we get to be recipients of that. So I have that drip. So what I do there is I just load my brush up with a lot of pigment and a lot of water and let it, deposit it on the top of the page, and then just pick my book up and let it drip on down. So I like exactly where that drip ended, so I want to leave that there. So I dried it, and now I'm coming back in with a little bit more. So it doesn't want to drip necessarily, so I'm dipping my brush in water and I'm sort of helping it along there, helping it to want to drip down a little bit. So you have to stick with me on this page, because as we're going along, it kind of looks very busy and very like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? She's literally vomiting watercolor all over this page. But at the end, I really do like how it turned out. It's very, it's a dynamic page. And I really do like the way it came out. So stick with me on it. I know right now it looks like a hot mess, but I say this to all my students, that there's always a stage in everything that I do and everything that you do that you hate it. You're just thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done? Stick with it and keep going, because it sort of, every piece has that stage on it. So keep on going. Don't stop there. Press in and just take it from start to finish. So see here, like if you just were to open up your Bible and see that, you would think, what? So, and at this point I'm thinking, Lisa, you got lots of splatters and paints and lots of stuff going on, but stick with it, I promise. You saw it kind of the preview shadow of it in the opening credits. So it really did turn out kind of cute though. So I think that these pages really come together when you add in the colored pencil for the pops and the like black outlines. I love the ziggity zags and the dots and all that kind of stuff. I think that's where it really pops up and just comes to life. So okay, so I just dropped in one darker layer on the bottom of that mop handle. And here you see that I'm putting in the blue paint of the bubbles, but I'm not doing it all in one wash. I'm kind of like doing it, haphazardly, so that there's some white still showing through and then there's some darker regions, because I want it to look like it's got texture and it's all different. You know, it's not just a blob of blue, it's just got all these different textures and bubbles and crevices in it. So just pieces of blue strategically placed around. Now my sponge is yellow, and I was thinking when I was doing it, you know, you don't usually add one pop of color in, because then the eye is completely drawn to that one color. So that's up to you. If you want to do it in yellow, you might want to do it in a gray or whatever. But I did just tone it down there with an opaque gouache white, and I think that helps. And also just the fact that I've got my other side of my page has got the yellows and the oranges on it. To me, it balances out. My spread is balanced out because of that yellow. But kind of see if you like it. If you like, go with it. If you don't, you know, do it in another color, whatever you like. Yellow is just the quintessential proverbial color, I think, of a sponge. So up on top there, I did add in a little bit of that white opaque gouache. So I did want to tone down the purple just a tinchy tad, so it was not quite so here I'm just splattering on that white gouache. And yes, I do have to clean up my entire desk when I'm done. It does splatter, but I use I got it from IKEA, and it's like a plastic mat that I put down when I'm working, so that with just a little bit of water or rubbing alcohol, it just cleans up lickety split with no worries. So I wanted to hone down those gray spikes a little bit. They were a little bit too much for me. It looks almost like, I don't know, like it would hurt. Like, I don't know, it looks like spikes or something like that. So I tone that down a little bit. So here I'm coming in with the colored pencil, and I do think that this is where it really starts to come to life and really pop and just be a cutesy kind of drawing. So I am going to warn you that I did have some up here. I'm dropping in that shadow under the bucket, and then there's going to be like a shadow that handle casts. So just be aware of those shadows. So I did have some filming difficulties. So there's going to be a spot in just a bit where I'm going to come back and there's going to be more done than you saw done. But I kind of left room in the video for me to try to explain and catch up to what I had done and where I had been. So on your bubbles here, make sure that you go back in and put in some round bubbles, whether you do it with the watercolor or colored pencil, but you want to define some of that space as those round bubbles. So here I'm just getting those popped in a little bit, up going around. So see, shading in underneath them so they belong there. So if you have a bubble, put a little bit of shading right underneath the round circle of the bubble in the bucket, so that it just feels like it's weighted and it belongs there. So here I'm just using my white. The white can act as like a blender, and I'm just kind of blending in those pencil strokes, so it just looks a little bit, you know, just, it doesn't look quite so, the pencil strokes are not so visible. Here I am fighting with an indigo pencil by Prismacolor, and no word of a lie, I think that I must have, the point broke at least 7 or 8 times during this video, every time I turned around. Okay, so right here, you'll notice that I have in my black and white checkerboard on the edges of the page, and I've gone back in and I've added in all of my zigzags and my polka dots. So if you just print out the PDF colored version from the website, you'll see exactly where I put in all of my zigzags and all of my equal signs and polka dots. Because that seems to be the only place that got lost, was was that one stage of getting in with the Bic Cristal pen, my little details that I love. So also make sure that I use the indigo pencil on all of my little paint splatters to make them look like they're like water droplets or whatever, and just to weight them out a little bit. So all of those splatters I have with the indigo pencil, I just outline them a little bit, and you'll see that too in the PDF. This one you definitely have to print out the PDF and take a look at it so you see what I did. So what am I using here to write with? I'm using a whiteout pen from the Dollar Tree. It's Jot is the name brand of it, and you get 2 for $1, and they are absolutely fantastic to write with white in. You can use like a Posca paint pen or a Jelly Roll, a Signature Roll, but these are just so easy, and they're $1, 50 cents each. And I don't know, you can't really do like fine lettering with it, but this is just a fun kind of illustration, so I thought it would be just perfect. And I needed to be bold because the background is so busy that I had to have something that would be bold enough to stand against the background. I will have to still go back in and really shade in my background here, because you see right now it's not popping. It's just not popping. So unfortunately I have got to use that oh my gosh, I can't think of it. The indigo pencil by Prismacolor. I know I've talked about this in the past, but now they don't use a solid core anymore in their pencils, and you can just get a bum pencil that it just, every time you sharpen it, it fragments, and it just, the tip just keeps on breaking off. And truly, that is the problem I'm having with this indigo pencil. I just continued to have to keep sharpening it. So I was ready to throw it out the window, and then I was having camera problems, and I just thought, oh, good Lord, what is going on today? So here I'm just popping up the downstroke, just a tinchy tad. Because I can't do a lot of detail, so it's got to be only on the letters that I can actually get in there and bulk it up a little bit without making it look crowded. So so I'm not doing a whole lot. Those wash me words are the biggest ones. I don't think I go in and anywhere else and do them because it would just be too hard. They're too close together. So as you're looking at my girl there on the other side, she will be available over in the downloadable section as a purchase if you want to get her and do her in your book as well. So the way that works is that you there's a colored picture on the website under the shop, and they're called DigiGirls. So you look for the DigiGirls and you see them colored in. So you see them completed, but when you buy it, you don't get the colored in one. You get an outline of that girl that you can transfer into your Bible. Then you can look at the color one online and you can do it, do it accordingly to the way that I had it, or just do it on your own. Use Copic markers, use colored pencils, use whatever, you have. But the faces and the cutesy girls are all drawn for you, so you can just concentrate on the coloring in part, the fun part. So here I am knocking in with that indigo blue, just trying to get the words to kind of pop up a little bit. I am going to note that when I'm off camera, I did go in even more and because I was done with this pencil. So I grabbed a black pencil and I just popped in a little bit of shadow underneath all of the letters. So when you see after the video is done, you'll see the picture of the completed picture. You'll note that there's just a little bit more shadow underneath the letters, because that really made them stand out even more. I really wanted the letters to pop. So so I'm just working with the pencil and getting those, you have to have a sharp point, which I couldn't get. So I'm like, one edge of the pencil had a point that I'm trying to work with here. I could not sharpen it. I could not get it to pop up or behave. So the shading was just a little bit challenging at this part. If you did not have, like the dollar store, if you don't have a white marker that will write over your background, you could try to do your background even darker and then use like a white colored pencil. The problem that I had was that it is sort of this like washed, like it looks like almost like a window pane got splashed with color and it was kind of running down. So, but if you did it in a very like darky kind of purple, you could come back in with a white colored pencil and do your words. You could just draw the picture and not put the words in. You could draw the picture and then go to your printer and print out the words in like a crazy fun font that you just love, and then just glue that onto the page or do a tip-in. A tip-in is where you add an extra, like to the edge of your book, you would use washi tape and attach another piece of paper so that when you open it, you open the book and then you open up the tip-in. I hope that makes sense. So you could put your words on a tip-in and then you don't have to fight with your background. So there's lots of ways to not have to go out and get anything. Just use what you have and sort of creatively figure out, I got to sharpen it again. Just creatively figure out how you can make it work. Look at that. Literally just lost the point again. So this I had onto real time because I lost so much of the video before that I just felt like I needed to sort of catch everybody up. So I want to thank everybody for all of the replies last week. We have figured out what that pen was that I got, so thank you for that. And thanks for just letting me know what were you guys. No promises on going back and getting the rest of the from Psalm 1 a voiceover done on all of them. It does take a lot of time to get these done and figured out and filmed and up on the site and all. So I don't know that I can go back and redo all of the beginning ones with a voiceover. So forgive me for that, but know that this is going to be the standard way from now on. So here I am. It does take a minute to get these letters outlined, just because they're kind of little and they're kind of close together, and I don't want it to be sloppy. I want to really get it in close to the letters, and not just sort of get it close to the letters, because then they're not going to pop and then I'm going to lose the white and blah, 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 blah. So it just would keep on, the problem would keep on getting bigger. So I'm just taking my time and really choosing one side of the letter on all of them and popping it in. Do note though, when off camera, that I do even go in and put a little bit more in there. So we're just about done now. Make sure that you print off that PDF and just catch up between where I told you the camera kind of just died on me. I don't know, I just think that is just about the cutest little thing. Oh, I do put some little white dots on there. But because the background is so busy, I was hoping that would even get the letters to pop up a little bit, but they're just, the W has them, you can see them, but for the most part there's just so much going on in the background that it's just getting lost. So I don't know if I would recommend that, but I was committed to my dots, so I did it. But I love this one. I think that it turned out really, really cute. So share with me what you guys are doing. I'd love to see yours when they're completed. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week on Psalm 52. Thanks, guys. Bye.